Hey guys, if you're new here and you like what I'm putting out, don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you never miss an upload. If you grew up watching Mighty Morphin like me and everyone else, you kind of know the formula of the TV show. The Rangers fight the monster gets big, the Rangers summon the Megazord, the monster gets destroyed, and all is well in Angel Grove or wherever the Rangers live. But did you know there are Power Ranger monsters that we never saw and went unused? And in this video, I'm going to talk about the Power Ranger monsters that were never before seen in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Now, there's a lot of reasons why some monsters go unused in Power Rangers. Either they're movie-exclusive characters, the suit is too sexy, or the suit is just too strange. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit, but if you enjoyed this kind of video, hit that like button. Don't forget to share it around on social media so more Power Ranger fans can find it. Also, if you're brand new, hit that big red subscribe button and turn on notifications. So, let's talk about some unused monsters in Power Rangers. Now, I'm not going to be covering anything from Season 1 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers because Saban back in the day burned through all of that footage, so they pretty much used all the monsters they could, even creating their own monsters when they had to commission it from Toei, so that's a whole other story that you guys can probably look into called Ju2. Maybe I'll cover it one day on the channel, maybe I won't, but let's talk about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 2 that used footage from the Sentai Dai Ranger. Now, do you guys remember Doomstone from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 2, one of Lord Zedd's monsters? Well, in Dai Ranger, he was called Company President Gravestone, and he hanged out with two other characters called Boss Kamikaze and Teacher Telephone. Two of these characters never made it into Power Rangers. Now, the reason why Boss Kamikaze probably never made it into Power Rangers was because he's got a Hachimaki on his head, and that would have seemed too insensitive for victims of World War II who were affected by the Kamikazes. And Teacher Telephone, well, Teacher Telephone is a telephone with a pair of tits, and yeah, that's all I've got to say about that. It's a telephone with tits that is very, very sexy, or tries to be very, very sexy when we're on screen, so I don't think Saban would have been able to make that work. But if you haven't seen Dai Ranger, I highly recommend checking out Dai Ranger because the characters of the Three Stooges are some of my favorite episodes in Dai Ranger, and I highly recommend checking them out because those episodes will give you a life. I mean, there's an episode where they play soccer with them, there's an episode where they play baseball with them, there's an episode where they have a bicycle race with them. It's some wacky, wacky shit, and these characters were really crazy. But yeah, out of all the Three Stooges, only one of them made it into it, and that was Company President Gravestone as Doomstone. Next up on the list is the Duke of Cards. Now, I can understand why this character was skipped over because it is a movie-exclusive character. It appeared in the Dai Ranger movie, and if Saban wanted to use footage from the movie, they would have had to pay extra money to use footage separate from the TV show, so they probably didn't want to spend money that wasn't there. But if they did use the money to buy the Dai Ranger movie footage, I can see this monster being like a Magic Man, or Lord Zedd brought playing cards to life or something like that. I don't know, it would have been really wacky if they did use the footage for this monster back in the day, but they didn't, they skipped over it, and I can totally understand why. No need to spend money that you don't need to spend. Next on the list is Pot Tausist, I don't know how to pronounce that name, but funny enough, originally this monster was going to be adapted as Party Crasher, but the movie went into production and the episode was scrapped and brand new episodes started getting made. So I can understand why they skipped over using the footage for this monster because they didn't really have a use for it. Apparently the plot of the episode was Aisha was going to be looking after her parents' house, and then there was a massive house party and the pot got broken and the pot turned into a monster and hijinks ensued and stuff like that. It would have been interesting to see if we saw it, but yeah, they skipped over this monster, but I highly recommend checking out the Dai Ranger version of this monster because it has one of my favorite moments in Dai Ranger history. Well, for the entire series, I want to say it's got a pretty epic moment in there. I won't spoil it, but definitely check it out for yourself. Alright, this one is gonna sound really wacky. Birdcage Vargant. It's a bird cage with a sombrero that carries around a giant pistol. Yeah, take a moment to digest that. So, this is from a monster of the day in Dai Ranger that went unused in Power Rangers. Now, the reason why it went unused is because it would have been a negative Mexican stereotype, along with the realistic pistol that it uses, but I'm sure Saban could have maybe edited around it or something like that. I mean, I've seen crazier monsters in Power Rangers before that they've kind of brushed over or Americanized, but I feel like this one might have been harder to sort of dance around and ignore the sombrero and the giant chicken leg that this monster has. But like I said, if you haven't watched Dai Ranger, go check it out. I highly recommend it. It's a fun episode and it's a wacky monster that they fight, and I can totally understand why they skipped over this monster in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 2. But wait, there's more! We've got to talk about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 3 and the monsters that went unused in there. So, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 3 used footage from the Sentai KakuRanger, and there's roughly about 9 monsters that went unused from KakuRanger. And looking at the list now, a lot of the reasons are kind of the same. The monsters were too sexy, the monsters spent a lot of time in their human form and not in their monster form, or they had realistic weapons and stuff like that. So a lot of the reasons are kind of the same, so I'm probably not going to cover them in this video, but if you want to check them out, you can find it on Power Rangers Wiki, or you could watch the Sentai for yourself on Shout Factory TV, so I highly recommend checking out the original source material to see what these monsters are about. But the monsters in KakuRanger are very, very interesting because they're all based on a yokai, and yokai are very interesting within themselves through Japanese mythology, so I highly recommend doing some yokai research or watching KakuRanger so you can check out these monsters for yourself. But there are some very interesting monsters that went unused, and Saban did the right thing by dancing around them because some of them are just freaking weird. Anyway guys, there are the unused monsters we never saw in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. If you want to see me cover the monsters from Zeo and onwards, leave a comment down below, and if this video gets a lot of positive reception, then I will continue talking about monsters we never saw in Power Rangers, because I had a lot of fun recording this video, and I hope you guys had a lot of fun watching this video. So with that said, I'm going to bring this video to a close. Special thanks to all the members such as Swaggerfor and Andrew McCoyle. If you want to get your name shouted out like these guys over here, join the YouTube membership program or become a Patreon so you can have your name in the credits of every video or shout it out like these guys over here, because your support is greatly appreciated, helps keep the lights on here. With that said, I'm going to wrap this video up now. Thanks for watching, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, take care, have a wonderful day or night. Bye!